Don't say this is Jeff.
This is David.
Hi, David.
Hi, Jeff.
We are playing Dark Souls 3.
Forever and always.
Forever and always. This is the Nameless King, which is not the first thing we're fighting, although he is technically here.
Right. The first thing we're fighting
is the King of the Storm, not to be confused with the Storm Ruler, which is a completely different thing.
Right.
The King of the Storm is easy, which is good because you have to fight him and the Nameless King all at once. So when you fail and die, which is a pattern they continued on into their DLCs, you do all the fights over again.
Right.
The Fire Breath is the attack that you want him to use because he reels back with his head, and it takes him forever to get out of it, so you can just wail on his head.
Right. If you do enough damage to his head, you stagger him. Exactly.
This is like the optional super boss of the game.
Ooh. He got you.
Fireballs, he fires straight down when he goes up in the air, but he can also do a wing buffet attack, which we'll see later.
That's more Calamite, what he just did.
Yeah, that's more of a Calamite thing. It is incredibly hard to dodge because you need to start running immediately. And there's the other one, the wing buffet.
I don't think I ever saw the wing buffet. Are you supposed to just dodge into it?
You know what? We're going to go through a few attacks, and the answer is going to be, I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
The wing buffet, I think, is physical damage, so you could just block it. You'll just have all of your stamina go away.
Right.
Here's the other one that I did not figure out how to dodge, the lightning slam, which seems to have infinite range.
Okay.
I'm just a little bit salty. There's parts of this boss which I think are some of the best, but there's also... I think it's probably the best fight in Dark Souls 3, but there's patterns that emerge that they decide to double down on in their DLCs that just make for extremely annoying fights.
Right.
Anyways, the lightning one, I was able to dodge one time with like a timed sort of dodge at the end, but at this point I was just like, well, I'm just going to block it. I just tank it.
I mean, you've got a shield, I guess you might as well.
See, like, in this case, if you're close enough, like, that is also a way to dodge it. So if you get underneath the sort of wyvern's head, it's entirely possible to do that as well.
And you can target him or the wyvern.
Yeah, that's true. Usually just keep the target on him so that I can dodge the lightning sort of Zeus-style dive bomb combo.
The Zeus dive bomb combo, there it is, yeah.
He'll do the lightning blast, and then he'll, do the dive bomb where he dives right at you, and then you just have to kind of get the timing on this, wait for that one. You can't really, I don't think you can block that one.
Nope.
Yeah, this also has another problem with Dark Souls bosses that was never solved and was in fact doubled down upon in lots of areas where huge gigantic bosses just ruin the camera.
Yeah.
Where there are so many times where I was standing underneath him and I wanted to target there we go, little
the stylish
final
kill
attack. Yeah, stylish kill. There's plenty of times where I was standing underneath him and I wanted to target the guy on top, so I knew which direction he was, and the camera would just like spin in circles, and then he would do a flame blast and I would die. Anyways, the actual real fight is the Nameless King himself.
Right.
It's a very difficult fight. Those are the long-range attacks he has, which you can totally stand at a distance and shoot him with arrows until he dies. Because those long-range attacks, these super long-range attacks,
don't have
are
infinite
physical
range.
Damage. They actually, I don't know about that.
Oh.
They probably don't, but they have a very, very large range.
Right, but they're physical, so you can just block them.
But they're physical damage. You can block them. They do a lot of stamina damage, but whatever.
Yeah.
Two-handed overhead does not combo. You can get a free hit if he has a two-handed overhead. Similarly, the two-handed dash attack we saw earlier, unfortunately, it's like very hard to tell the difference between the one-handed, two-handed dashing attack. So, you know what? If you want to take a risk on it, go for it.
So I'm saying, as far as the combo goes, just dodge into it, and you're generally... Oh.
Yeah, his combo was done.
Yeah.
There's the end.
Yeah.
Two-handed overhead.
And he's got a giant lightning spear, so...
He does.
Don't try to block it just indefinitely, because you'll just die through chip damage.
So the one-handed wind dash combo he immediately does a dashing attack afterwards. So he dodges away with the wind buffet and then will run straight at you with an overhead, one-handed. So that's the one I always wait for, because occasionally he'll only do the one attack, and then that's fine. He's just over there minding his own business. I'm always waiting for the follow-up attack. See, that was the one where he didn't follow up.
Okay.
That's the one where he does. And you just roll into it. He can do an additional attack after that, but it's a good time to get a poke.
And he is susceptible to bleeding if you want to go that route.
Sure. The lightning dash, this one I didn't have trouble, because if you just like have the same roll timing as his other attacks, you can just put another roll immediately after and you'll be fine. That is another problem with that. Was obviously a mistimed roll, or was it? It was a bad direction for the roll, so it rolled into
standard Miyazaki delayed fall.
It's a Miyazaki boss fight, and you might recognize this from like, let's see, where else was it used? It's used in
Ornstein.
That was a bad roll. King Allant uses it in Bloodborne. The guy, I forget his name, it'll come to me later, but the guy on top of the castle uses it.
The martyr or whatever.
Yeah, Logarius.
Yeah.
Logarius uses it in Dark Souls 3 here. This guy uses it.
Ornstein uses it.
Ornstein uses it. That's true.
The old Dragon Slayer,
Dark Souls
2 uses it.
Yeah, and some bosses from the DLC, which we haven't gotten to, use it. So it's a thing. Oh, the Pontiff uses it.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyways, the standard combos. This is the ones you need to watch out for. The Phase 1 and Phase 2 versions. Phase 1 can end on a thrust, which we've seen. Phase 2 can end on a lightning stake, which we haven't seen yet, but we will be seeing soon. Because there's just a few subtle differences between Phase 1 and Phase 2.
Hey, Jeff.
This being one of them.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
Is the lightning steak shockingly delicious?
Sure, I guess. I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an obvious one. This is a lightning bolt attack. You just you roll to dodge it because it's an overhead attack and can't block it.
Right.
The timing on that is... Yes, that is the lightning stake. There's the one. It ends up with a blast of 6. The 6-way like sort of laser blasts that happen afterwards. I was trying to figure out a good way to remember. That's a grab, shorter than the other dash, which started the fight off at. I was trying to figure out, like, okay, maybe the light that it hit goes in 6 directions. Maybe it never goes the direction that he is.
But that's not true.
But I don't know. I couldn't really get a great angle on it, so I'm not sure that's true or not.
I remember being behind him and getting hit by that, so...
It also might be because he was, like, rotating to face me.
There's that. Ooh.
There's the
lightning
weirdly
stomp.
wide AoE with the stomp. So, hooray. But that's actually about it. The thing is that in the second half, he's easier because he does this move, where you can just hit him. Like, this one sucks because you can't really block it, but the homing lightning, it's just you kind of, when he like pushes his hand up into the air, you just kind of roll.
That's a good still, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
You just kind of roll at that point and you'll be okay.
Right.
This is just a bad position.
Oops.
It's too far away.
Oh, I bet you're glad you had all that vitality.
Yeah. There is one fight I did. Hey, look, he's doing that thing again.
Hey.
There was one fight I did where I got him down to 1 hit left. But then I just killed myself. I was like, there's still a few attacks he hasn't done. It's fine. I'll just do it again.
Oh, no.
I was like, but no, this is fine because I am choosing to die here. It wasn't that I got him down to 1 hit and then he, killed me because I panic rolled or something. Trying to get like a good dodge on this lightning. It didn't happen. No. So I was like, all right, whatever. We're done. This guy's done. We're done with this. Awesome. That is not the right emote. There it is. This is the correct emote.
Yes.
At the end of any boss in Dark Souls.
Yes.
overall, I think that Nameless King might be the best thing that they've done. It was sort of the apex of all of the things they like to do.
Right.
It was a multi-target fight, but not really. It was just a multi-phase. It was, sort of an epic scenario. It's lore appropriate, tying back into things that happened earlier, which is nice. But he does way too much damage, just like everything in all the Dark Souls games.
Right.
To the point of it just being frustrating. You just have to get good, in quotes. Or you can cheese him from a distance with arrows to the head over and over again. That could be fun, especially if you're co-oping. Super easy.
The other...
He can only slowly, badass walking away from explosion style, walk towards one of you at a time. But you can also use a lightning shield. This was not a particularly great lightning defense shield. All of his attacks have that lightning chip damage.
Right. I mean, you can also just, go in with the Henri straight sword with Carthage Rouge on it and just obliterate him in a few hits because he's super susceptible to bleeding damage.
I'm not sure if you can parry him. I guess I never tried. I don't know.
Well, I guess we better re-record the video and try. No,
we're not gonna do that. No. It seems like it could be possible because he's kind of your own size, kind of
ish, a little bigger, but he's human shaped.
Human-ish. I suppose technically god shaped in the lore context.
Well, fair, but, yes.
So I actually don't know. Either way, I mean, if you could, then great. I don't know if you can or not. I find this way is sufficient. So,
right.
Plus, this is how to get around all the attacks, anyways.
That's the point of the guides.
Yeah, or at least mostly around all the attacks, I guess.
I mean, hey,
this is he has a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's so like I said, it's like the best of the things that they've done with boss design and trends that they double down on, which make a lot of later efforts much worse. So I think I've complained about this in previous videos, but multi-target fights where the targets don't interact with each other at all, their attacks phase through each other in order to hit you,
right,
has been in every single Dark Souls and Dark Souls like game. That has never been fixed or addressed. It is frustrating every time, especially when you're trying to fight multiple targets, which is not the system that Dark Souls is made for.
Mm-hmm. It's something, one of those things.
Something like Neo is a little bit better at handling multiple targets because of the speed.
Right, but they can still attack through each other.
They still can, yes. Yeah. This is true.
It's really just a matter of it feels like it's the legacy code of the series. Mm-hmm. Like, this is how it's been, so this is how it shall be, because Miyazaki has deemed it so. And
which is why this is a good thing that it's the last one.
Right.
So I of course hoped that Dark Souls 3 would have been better. Not to say that it is bad,
because it's good.
As we like to say, a good video game. Maybe not the best Dark Souls video game. Mm-hmm. They're two different metrics. But still enjoyable to co-op and to have some fun with. But yeah, there's
it's fun to break too.
Yeah, it's fun to break. It's fun if you enjoy straight swords, which I do.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was a good change from Dark Souls 2, where swords weren't that good, to where straight swords are like stupid overpowered. Good. Well, what if I like spears? Well, no luck. Oh, okay.
I mean, you can spear things if you want to, I guess.
But it's just not effective. It's not effective enough.
The DLC for Dark Souls 3 has some of the best and worst fights in all of Dark Souls.
That sounds like Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1, all the fights were just, all the DLC fights were great.
The DLC fights in Dark Souls 1 were just primo.
Right.
Like,
Even Sanctuary
good
Guardian,
stuff.
which was the weakest, was still really fun.
Yeah. I mean, even though Artorias was just a dude in armor.
Right. Like, literally the best fight in all Dark Souls.
Manus was just a dude without armor.
He was just a dude with
maybe
a
had, like,
really big arm,
like
a
a
little
loincloth.
gimpy arm, and then a black magic shotgun.
Just a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really just like just a big dude.
Yeah.
So,
But, no, just...
yeah, I don't know what to do about... I guess we'll find out what happens. There's still some more bosses in Dark Souls 3 to go through.
Before we hit the
actual,
DLC.
Main line, last boss, main line, optional bosses. Champion should be next. After that, there's still the princes and the actual last boss of the game.
It's, we're nearing the end of the main road. And maybe we'll do.
I was
DLC?
smart enough to I was smart enough to have already recorded the Ring City DLC fights and just have them on hand in case one of you got guides for them. But there is not a single part of Ariandel that I look forward to doing again. Least of all, the boss thing.
Do you want to co-op that? I mean, we could.
We'll see when we get there. There's still some more mainline bosses.
There's still mainline bosses
before I make a final decision on that. It's just I really strongly just like the way they decided to end Ariandel.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what I was saying earlier here with doubling down on the things that make this fight seem impossible at first, and they're just like, what if we just did more and more of that?
Let's add more phases. You know La Mulana, how it has some parts of it that are just like difficult for all the wrong reasons? Let's do that.
Yep. I don't know, that's a complaint for a different video.
Yeah.
This is a pretty good boss overall.
No,
it's a great location. The location is probably also one of the better parts of Dark Souls 3 as well.
Yeah.
The Dragon Sanctum looks great.
The Nameless King is my favorite fight from Dark Souls 3, hands down. It's just
even though it's just a dude in armor.
Even though it's just a dude in armor.
It's just dude in armor.
But it was favorite setting, favorite fight. I think I still need to play the Ring City DLC for Dark Souls, and since I have fewer options for gaming currently, I should probably do that.
Might as well. I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
It's much better than Ariandel,
which I thought was okay. At best,
Ariandel was okay. It was. I mean, the problems I have with that is just the problems I have with Dark Souls 3, where it's just like, hey, remember this thing from Dark Souls 1? Here it is again.
But,
like, okay.
Okay, good.
I wanted to see a new area.
It's like,
too bad.
You know how you like beautiful vistas or like snowy cities, or you like the corridors and atmosphere you build, but you don't really like the large open spaces that we give you? Yeah, well, we gave you a large open snowscape.
Do you like forests? No. Well, here's like another couple of those.
Oh, good. Do you like fighting wolves? Not really. They're really annoying. Well, here's a bunch.
Really.
Oh.
Here's a bunch of them.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
It's like, it's
Ring City is much better in the design and boss department.
Okay.
So there's
good.
that.
Good.
I also think it's a fitting end to the entirety of Dark Souls.
Yay.
Despite the internet, which complains about everything, which is just the nature of the internet.
Right.
I don't think that Dark Souls could have ended in any other way. Because if you think it's going to end in some other way, you haven't been playing. I feel like you haven't been paying attention to the way they do storytelling in Dark Souls.
Like, this isn't Demon's Souls, this isn't Bloodborne.
Yeah, this isn't Demon's Souls or Bloodborne. The games that actually have endings, Dark Souls has had the same ending over and over again.
Right. Even though Dark Souls 3 has quote-unquote like 4 or 5 endings, they're all just variations on the same two.
They're all the same endings. They're the same endings as always.
So, it's... Yeah. Well, if you've liked us talking about Nameless King for 10 minutes and then other stuff for a while, feel free to go to Patreon, and you can go there and pledge to give us so much money per month, and that lets us aim towards doing this more as a full-time thing. In the meantime, we put that money back into the channel, like, for example, let's say one of us gets their apartment broken into and a bunch of stuff stolen. It gets us, a 360 controller so that maybe I can play the game. I mean,
do co-op and play games with each other and for the channel and maybe just personally as well. Yeah. Whilst waiting on insurance claims to come through.
Yeah.
So yeah. Also, you can also just give like tips, PayPal tips. There's a PayPal address that you can send those to.
Right, as well. And that's also greatly appreciated.
And we have our a weekly Twitch show that we also do. So that's 7 to 9 Pacific time on Tuesdays.